Welcome to my class, student. It's class 8 English. It so happened, and this is chapter 4. The chapter's name is The Treasure Within, and this is session 1. In this we are going to read the text. The title of the story is The Treasure Within. What does it mean? It means there is a treasure in ourselves. If we know ourselves better, if we look inside, we will find there is a treasure gifted by God to us. Now, let's see what's there in the story. Just as the introduction, it is said, every child is a potential achiever. God had no time to create nobody. Always remember, we all have some mission. We all are here to achieve something. So, the same thing is written here. Every child is a potential achiever and is different from other children in his style of learning and area of interest. It's not important that all will be equal. We have 5 fingers and all are different. But when they are united, they can do many things. So in the same way, all the children, they are different in his or her style of learning or in area of interest, but they are all here to achieve something. So we don't have to underestimate any of the children that we meet with. Read the interview that follows. It is based on a conversation between Miss Bela Raja, editor of Spurs, a newsletter from the Resource Center, the Valley School, Bangalore, and Mr. Hafiz, contractor, one of India's leading architects. You must be knowing if someone is very famous, someone is very popular, someone is a great achiever. So he must or she must be a very good learner, very good student, very good performer. But it's not so true. Just go through the interview. You will come to know how Mr. Hafiz, contractor, as a student was. And you will be surprised how he has become such a big name in the world of architects. See, he is a leading architect, and when we will go through the interview, you will come to understand it's not so important if you are not a good student, if you don't have any interest in learning. Whatever you have inside, whatever the treasure God has gifted you, just you develop that, and then you will also be very famous like Mr. Hafiz, contractor. Let's start the interview. First, there is a little description of the chapter. Hafiz, contractor, was an unhappy school boy. We all are unhappy school students, right? He loved doing things, but he tasted mechanical learning. Mathematics gave him the shivers. Same with many of us. What his principal once said to him influenced him deeply. Now, let's go through the entire interview. Hafiz, contractor. S stands for Hafiz, contractor, and BR is Bela. Hafiz, contractor. I used to have this terrible nightmare. What do you mean by nightmare? Nightmare? वो डरावने सपने. Only now, over the last 4 to 5 years, it seems to have disappeared. Now, over to 4 to 5 years, now it has been disappeared. Earlier, every night he had nightmares. What nightmare are you talking about? And why do you think it has disappeared now? Now says your reporter, Hafiz, SC. I used to get continuous nightmares about appearing for a maths examination where I did not know anything. It happens many of us because many of us are scared of mathematics and nightmares. This nightmare is very common to all of us, that we have appeared for a maths examination and when I go through the question paper, I know nothing. Oh my God, what will I score? Now the psyche must have gotten over it. I don't have to think about education, and there is absolutely no time to get nightmare. Why he has no time to think about education? Because he has become a very successful architect. So he doesn't have to think about education, those school days, those scary nightmares, and that scary subject that is mathematics. BR, that is Bela. Tell us something about your earliest memories in school. Why she has asked about school? Because Mr. Hafiz had a nightmare of this mathematics. That means as a student, what he was as a student, she wanted to know about this. Hafiz contracted. In the first and second year, I was a good student. After I reached the third standard, I simply lost interest and I never studied. See, Hafiz contractor, he is saying this. Now nightmare, haunting fear, frightening dreams, psyche, mind or mentality. I used to be interested in games, running around, playing jokes and pranks on others. I would copy in class during exam time. See, very normal student, huh? I would try to get hold of the examination paper that had been prepared and studied, as I could not remember things that had been taught to me in class. How many of you think, "Arey, to hamari tarah hai"? See, this is the thing. He loved to play games. He loved to play jokes and pranks, but he was not interested in studying. However, later, one sentence spoken to me by my principal changed my life. That is time changer moment. One time comes in your life when everything gets changed. So that one particular moment, the principal said something to Mr. Hafiz, and what she has said, let's see. When I approached my 11th standard, the principal called me and said, "Look here, son, I have been seeing you from day one. You are a good student, but you never studied. I have taken care of you till today. Now I can no longer take care of you, so you do it yourself." See, principal is saying, now I can no longer take care of you, so you do it yourself. He talked to me for 5 minutes. You don't have your father. Your mother has worked so hard to bring you up and paid all your fees all these years, but you have only played games. Now you should rise to the occasion and study. Now as a principal, it was his duty to give a valuable suggestion to Mr. Hafiz, a very dear student who doesn't have father, mother whose mother has worked so hard to bring him up. So it was the last suggestion from the principal, and these words changed Mr. Hafiz's life. I used to be a very good sportsman earlier to this conversation. I had been the senior champion for so many years, and I also was the cricket captain. I used to play every game, but that year I did not step out onto the field. And it was 11th, class 11. I would go for prayers and all I would do was eat and study. I normally used to copy and pass, but I realized that once I was in SSC, I could not do that. Really, it's very tough when you have competitive exam, when you have your board exam, you are not allowed to copy, and you can never pass if you will practice this, because it's very dangerous and you will have to study a lot. When I got a second class 50% in my SSC, my principal said, "Son, consider yourself as having got a distinction. As you never studied, this time you studied a lot. That 50% is like a distinction for you. You should be happy with this." This is my memory of my school days. This particular conversation, this particular moment when he started taking his study very seriously, this memory has always been in Mr. Hafiz's life. He is always this memory is still there in his life of school days. Now I did lots of other things. See, As far as my things are concerned, I can't remember. I forget things very easily. To remember, I have to see things as a photograph. So, it's very important. If you go through the images, you will never forget the thing. So, it's a very good way of learning. If there is something very difficult to learn, just find the images or you create images. So, when you will create images in your mind, you will find that you will never forget the particular thing that you forget very easily. I read a book and I can remember the matter as a photograph, but not through my mind. That is how it works. Now Bela said, when you were in school and you were doing badly, did the teachers pull you up and how did you feel? Now a very great personality, a very great achiever. Now Bela is asking, did the teachers pull you up and how did you feel? Now, as far as my things are concerned, perhaps he is referring to matters other than course materials and their details. Because other than course materials, because he did never like study. So, as far as my things are concerned, he was very much happy with the games and all other things. Now, Mr. Hafiz contractors, see Mr. Hafiz. Hafiz, I never felt anything on being pulled up. I used to be so interested in playing, I would receive a caning every week. See, every week caning. And he was so interested in playing. And now we the teachers, being a teacher, what's my responsibility? My responsibility is to teach the student and to see whether the student is learning or not. So if I find myself, if anyone who is not interested in learning anything, I also lose my temper. And it's a thing that I don't cane anyone, but still I scold everyone. So here, as a boy, and that time, he would receive a caning every week. BR. When you knew that you had incurred the wrath of your teacher by not doing your homework or by behaving badly, when you knew you would get a caning, what was the state of your mind? Then what did you feel when these things were happening and someone was caning you every week? Now caning is punishment, beating, and incur the wrath of your teacher, made your teacher furious. State of mind. Just lift up the hand and they would cane you. See? Have you seen? In this way, and teachers start caning. That is the way. And he loved playing so much, he did never mind when someone is caning him. They just lift up the hand and they would can you. It would hurt badly and then I would have to forget about it. Because I want to go and play. Let this episode be over. After a few minutes, the teacher will be tired. Then again I will go out and play. That was going on in his mind at that time. So he did never mind when teacher was caning him. BR. You never felt insecure or threatened? SC. I was just interested in playing and nothing else. I was most interested in funny pranks. One day, I did not want to study, so I created a distraction. For one whole hour, we played chore police. See? Mr. Hafiz contracted as a student. When you will go through his achievement, you will be surprised. So, as a student, his adventurous student life. Word meaning distraction, something amusing and pleasurable. Chore police, you know chore police, children's game in which one child thief hides and others policemen try to find him or her. Every Saturday we were allowed to go into town to see a movie. So what I would do was have no lunch and collect money from 40-50 students and run and buy the tickets. On my way back, I would eat to my heart's content. So he was in a hostel actually. So what happened? So every Saturday they went to see a movie, and I would do was have no lunch and collect money from 40 to 50 students to buy the tickets. Now, I used to be the leader of a gang. We would have gang fights and plan strategies. These things used to interest me more than any academics. See, he did never interest in any of the subject. He was a very good prankster, and he was the leader of a gang, and he had always, there was a gang fights, and they loved to plan strategies, and all these things was his student life. Now, eat to my heart's content, eat as much as I wanted, eat my fill, strategies, methods of winning fights, academic or educational matters, books, discussion, debate. He had no interest in these. Students used to book my textbooks for the following year. No, there is a habit now. We try to get the books of our seniors, so that if the syllabus is the same, so that we can save our money on textbook. So students used to book his textbook, Mr. Hafiz, for the following year. Now you know the reason. Just go through the reason. Because they were almost brand new. His books were always brand new. I probably opened them one day before exam. Because if you have bought a thing and you have kept it as it is, and you have never used it, only once a time before exam, it's new. So students love to book his textbook. Word meaning: book, offer to buy in advance or reserve. So, what have you learned? You have learned about the amazing school days of Mr. Hafiz Contractor, how he was as a student and how did he spend his school days. In the next class, I will go through the text and we will know more about Mr. Hafiz Contractor. Thank you. Go through it, and please, if you are a good student, then study hard. Okay? Thank you.